ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So we have been seeing how gradually one comes to the point of self-realization. We began where Lord Kapila was explaining about what is conditional life. When one is influenced and one is attracted by the three modes of material nature, that is called as conditioned life. And when the same consciousness is not attached anymore to material sense gratification, to the three modes of material nature, rather it is attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then that is called liberation. And then Lord Kapila also explained what is that position of liberation, what are the symptoms of liberation. So, symptoms of liberation is that one is no more influenced by three modes. Then what will be the symptom? When one is not influenced by three modes, lust and greed will be absent. So when one becomes completely purified of the impurities of lust and greed, and how this lust and greed is produced? This is produced from identification, ahankara, of me and mine. And when the mind has thus become purified, at that time, one will have no conception of material happiness and distress. That means hankering and lamentation. This is called material existence. What is the sign of material existence? Rajoguna, tamoguna, lust, greed, all these, right? So what will be the result? Symptom is lust and greed. Result will be, one will be influenced by material happiness and distress. When material happiness will come, he will be very happy, very jubilant. He sees everything bright in his life. And when material distress comes, then he is very sad. Lamentation. He is overpowered by sorrow in his life. He sees no light at all. He sees only darkness. So hankering and lamentation. One will become free from that. That is called liberated life. So no more he is concerned with material happiness and material distress. Then what happens? At that time, one can understand himself to be transcendental to this material existence. He understands, I have nothing to do with this matter, material world. I am transcendental to all these. I am self-effulgent, never fragmented. Although I am very minute, part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, he understands his original nature as part and parcel of Krishna being engaged in his service. Then, today's verse, where Lord Kapila explains, in that position of self-realization, one becomes engaged in devotional service. One has become free from hankering, lamentation. One has become free from the influence of modes of material nature. Now he has become healthy. Earlier he was in diseased condition. Now when he has come to healthy position, then he becomes engaged in devotional service to the Lord. This is the essence of this verse. How does he become engaged? That is explained in today's verse. Jnana Vairagya Yuktena. He has become enlightened with spiritual knowledge. What is jnana? Jnana means understanding. I am part and parcel of Krishna. Constitutionally, I am of the quality of the Supreme Lord. I am not of the quality of matter. And I must engage myself in loving devotional service to the Supreme Lord. That is called jnana. So when one understands his position as spirit soul, different from matter, result is he becomes indifferent to matter. Because once one has realized himself as spirit soul of the category of the Supreme Lord, then how can one be attached to matter? He becomes indifferent to matter. And that is called Vairagya. So Jnana and Vairagya will manifest in one's life when one has become self-realized. Self-realization is not some kind of abstract understanding. Oh, he is self-realized, he is self-realized. It is very objective. If one has become self-realized, then he must be equipped with knowledge and renunciation both, simultaneously. Not that I have knowledge of Krishna, Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, I am not this material body, everything. And then we find one is engaged in sense gratification. And then he is thinking, I have become self-realized. No. That is not self-realization. Here, it is given. How do we understand the person is self-realized? He is equipped with knowledge and renunciation. Then, Jnana Vairagya Yuktena Bhakti Yuktena Cha Atmana. And when one is situated in self-realized position, which is called the position of liberation, liberation from the three modes of material nature, from the influence of three modes of material nature, from the influence of illusory energy of the Lord. That is called self-realization. Position of self-realization means without fail liberation from the modes of material nature. Otherwise one is not liberated. And how does one understand he has become liberated? So there it says, Paripashyati udasinam. He sees everything in right perspective, with right understanding, with right perception. He sees everything. Then udasinam. So automatically he becomes indifferent to material world, material necessities of life. And when one has become indifferent like this, prakritim cha hataujasam, then the grip of material nature becomes slackened on him by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. When Maya sees that one is sincerely engaged in devotional service to the Lord, being subservient to the Supreme Lord, Maya loosens the hold, the grip on the living entity. So Prabhupada translates, in that position of self-realization, by practice of knowledge and renunciation in devotional service, one sees everything in the right perspective. He becomes indifferent to material existence, and the material influence acts less powerfully upon him. So this is the position of self-realization. Imagine actually the position of conditioned soul and the position of one who has become liberated from this conditioning. Isn't it? So here that explanation is given. What it is to be freed from being conditioned life. No more attachment to this material existence. One becomes completely indifferent to this material existence. Now, indifference to the material existence should not be misunderstood. Indifference means this material existence, it's an energy of the Lord, and it must be utilized in the service of the Lord. That is called indifference. Indifference does not mean I renounce this material world, I have nothing to do with this. Indifference means one understands, one sees the right perspective. When I use this material energy in my service, I only suffer. Because this material illusory energy, it is powerful energy of the Lord which binds the living entity in this material world. It makes me forget my constitutional position as eternal servant of Krishna. This is called right perspective. He sees. But right perspective is not that because this material energy is illusory, it puts me into illusion, so I renounce this material energy. I have nothing to do with this. No. Right perspective also means to understand, yes, it binds me in this material world, but the moment I use this in the service of the Lord, it will be the cause of liberation from this material world. That is called right perspective. That is what is being taught by Srila Rupa Goswami. He says, प्रापंचिकतया बुद्ध्या हरि संबंधी वस्तुना मुमुक्षो परित्यागो फल्गु वैराग्यम कथ्यते. This buddhi, that everything is material, prapanchikataya buddhya. Whereas actually the right perspective is hari sambandhi vastuna. Everything has got relation with the Supreme Lord. Everything has got relation with the Supreme Lord. And that is how you find the difference between an actually liberated soul. Real liberated soul is not simply sitting in Vrindavan and chanting the holy name of the Lord. Of course, there may be a liberated soul like that who is, Prabhupada explains that Bhajananandi, one who is completely absorbed in, glorifying the Supreme Lord. But actually, the real liberation, the person who is actually liberated, is not simply making a show for himself, being absorbed. He understands the right perspective. He understands that this material energy is the cause of bondage for all these living entities. And what is the solution? The solution is the same material energy, because our attraction is towards this material energy. The living entity is so much attracted to this material illusory energy of the Lord that it is very difficult to renounce it. So what is the way forward? The way forward is to make him to understand and gradually utilize that same tendencies, the same energy of the Lord in the service of the Lord. And that will become the cause of liberation from this material existence. So that is called proper perspective. So here it is explained that paripashyati means when one becomes self-realized, then he sees with proper vision. He has proper perception how things have to be utilized, how everything can be utilized in the service of the Lord. So, Udasinam similarly explains that proper perspective, that yes, for my sense gratification, I am Udasinam. One is indifferent to material nature, but for the service of the Lord, he is very, very enthusiastic to utilize everything in the service of the Lord. That is what we can see. Srila Prabhupada, he utilized everything in the service of the Lord, understanding that actually it belongs to him and it must be utilized in his service. And when that is done, the living entity becomes free from the entanglement of the same material energy. Utilizing the same energy in the service of the Supreme Lord, he will become liberated from its entanglement. The hold of material nature will become loosened up. That is very, very important. Then the question will be that how do we understand? Here it is said, and even in Bhagavad Gita also we find the same thing. Brahma bhuta prasannatma na sochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhakti labate param. When one has come to the point of Brahman realization, no more hankering, no more lamentation, then one attains to devotional service of the Lord. Then one may wonder. Because when one has become in healthy condition, correct? When one is in diseased condition, it's all material activities. In healthy condition, it is spiritual activities. That is called devotional service. Then we will wonder, what are we practicing? We are not liberated. We have not become free from the influence of hankering and lamentation. We are still under the jurisdiction of matter. Then how are we practicing devotional service? Isn't it? This is called sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti means this is the purity of devotional service. This is the greatness of devotional service. Just like, I think all of you in yesterday's class must have heard about Prabhupada speaking about Niharam iva bhaskara. Correct? What was that verse? Anybody remembers? Kechid kevalaya bhaktya Vasudeva parayana. Then Agham dhunuvanti kasneya Niharamiva bhaskara. You can see, right? Devotional service is so great that even a little, just like the example is given, the afternoon blazing sun is different from the morning rising sun, right? The rays are just coming out and spreading everywhere, but that itself is more than enough. The beginning of devotional service itself is more than enough to actually raise the living entity to liberation. You see? Otherwise, how much prayaschitta one has to perform? So many different kinds of sinful activities, knowingly, unknowingly, we have been doing in this material world. To become purified, otherwise you have to do lots and lots of heaps of prayaschitta. And that prayaschitta, Parikshit Maharaj is explaining, what is the use of that prayaschitta? It is just like Hasti Snan, isn't it? Elephant taking a bath. It may take a very nice bath, but then influence of material nature is still there. That habit is not gone. He will still go out. He will again pour dust on himself. Right? So what is the use of that kind of bath? So all these other processes are compared like that. That somehow or other you try austerity, you try to gain knowledge, you have so many different kinds of processes are given, you practice, you rise high, no doubt, you become purified. But then, once again, the influence of material nature does not become slackened. Here it is said it becomes slackened. That is only by devotional service. Otherwise it does not become slackened. Once again, one will become impure. Whereas devotional service is so great, even if it is practiced mixed with jnana, mixed with material aspirations, still just the glimpses of devotional service itself is so great, one attains jnana and vairagya. If it was not vairagya, was it very easy to give up material taste? We were all so much addicted to material sense gratification. Was it very easy to give up? Seeing cinemas, movies, being involved in so many different kinds of anarthas, isn't it? So practically we have given up. So that is the influence of just the glimpse of devotional service. Just imagine. We are actually practicing only the glimpses of devotional service. And if we properly practice this sadhana bhakti, properly, the example is given, it is just like a mango. Mango, when it is not very ripe, it is sour, it may be little bitter, but it is still mango. And if you wait for some time, let the mango ripen, then all that sourness, that bitterness is gone, and we will be able to taste, the ripened mango. So, it begins with sadhana bhakti, where practicing devotional service may look little austere to us, because it has not become natural to us, it is not yet spontaneous to us. Isn't it? Just like Srila Jiva Goswami, Prabhupada explains from the purport of Jiva Goswami, he explains there are varieties of that devotional service. In certain stage one becomes freed from the bija of all our karmas, whatever we have been gathering from so many millions of lifetime. In one stage, we become little attracted to devotional service. Correct. Varieties of stages of devotional services are there. And it is very, very scientific. How one progresses from one stage to another. How from Shraddha, one can progress to the stage of Asakti. How one can progress to the stage of ecstatic devotional service. And then to Prema. Everything is very scientific. And stage by stage, we can go ahead. But, unfortunately, if we keep doing different kind of offenses in devotional service, then whatever progress we have made, it becomes completely stopped. No further we are able to go. It becomes choked up. So, if we take care of our devotional service properly, of watering, nourishing our devotional creeper, and at the same time taking care that we don't perform offenses to the holy name, offenses to the deities, offenses especially to the Vaishnavas. That is called Hatimat. Even to the holy name it is not called Hatimat. Tare Harinam, right? If we commit offenses to the holy name and you keep chanting, your offenses will go away one day. But offenses to the pure devotees of the Lord, that is very difficult. Isn't it? Krishna showed how Amrish Maharaj, the devotee of the Lord, Durvasa Muni, had no chance to being forgiven. He went left and right to all places, to Vaikuntha, pleaded to the Supreme Lord, fell down at his feet. But even the Supreme Lord said, I am unable to forgive you. Only if Amrish Maharaj wants, he can forgive you. So imagine actually. So then it is very much possible that we will be able to come out of it. Otherwise, as Prabhupada, if you read today's purport, you can see Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Narad Muni is also saying, Tat Paratvena Nirmalam. When all your senses have become purified, then you can get engaged in devotional service. Right? Bhagavatam is also saying. Bhagavad Gita it is said, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Na Sochati Na Kankshati Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu. At that point, you will attain Mad Bhakti Labate Param. Then you will attain devotional service. And here also it is said, Bhagavatam elsewhere it is said, Vasudeve Bhagavati. Right? There also same thing it is said. If you want to attain devotional service to the Lord, then Jnana, Vairagya, everything has to come. Isn't it? So, that is the greatness of devotional service. That even though pure devotional service is practiced when one is completely in the healthy condition of life, but the greatness of devotional service is even in the diseased condition of life, one can practice devotional service. What is the difference? The difference is when we practice in diseased condition, it will act like medicine and it may look like little bitter. It is called Bhava Aushadhi. And when one has become liberated, one can taste the nectar of devotional service. That is the difference. You see? Bhavoshadha shotro manobhirama. Then one can relish devotional service. In the beginning it will be like Aushadhi. But later on, once we become liberated, then actually is the stage of real enjoyment, real ananda, tasting the nectar of devotional service. At every step, one will be able to taste Purna Amrita Swadanam. So that is the stage one should aspire for. We should not become stuck at the stage of sadhana and just keep practicing, and then we think that we have been practicing devotional service. So we'll stop with this. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।